China is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. Its history began more than 4,000 years ago. Long before it became the powerful country we know today, China was a land made up of many small kingdoms. These kingdoms were ruled by different kings and emperors, and each kingdom had its own culture and way of life. Over time, these kingdoms were united under one powerful ruler. This happened about 2,200 years ago, when the first emperor of China, Qin Shi Huang, brought all the small kingdoms together to form one large country. Qin Shi Huang is famous for many things, but one of his greatest achievements was building the Great Wall of China. The Great Wall was built to protect China from invaders. It is still one of the most well-known landmarks in the world today. China's growth was not only about military power, trade also played an important role. A trade route called the Silk Road was very important in ancient China. The Silk Road connected China to many other countries in Asia, Europe, and even Africa. Through this road, China traded things like silk, tea, and porcelain. These products were highly valued by people in other countries. Because of this, China became a very important place for trade. For example, the Chinese kept the secret of how to make silk. If anyone outside of China learned how to make silk, they could be punished. At the time, China was also making many important inventions. For example, the Chinese invented paper, gunpowder, and printing. These inventions were not only important for China, but also changed the world in many ways. For a long time, China was the most advanced country in the world, and its inventions helped shape the future. However, China's self-confidence led it to isolate itself from the rest of the world. While other countries were exploring and trading with each other, China kept to itself. This isolation lasted for many centuries. The Chinese people believed that they did not need to learn from other countries because they thought their own way of life was the best. Despite this isolation, China's influence spread far and wide. The Silk Road was just one example of how China connected with other countries. Even though China was closed off in many ways, its products and ideas still reach people around the world. The ancient history of China laid the foundation for the powerful nation we see today. From the time of the first emperor to the growth of trade and culture, China became a great empire. Although China's early years were marked by isolation, its impact on the world was undeniable. The inventions, culture, and trade of ancient China influenced many other countries. Even today, China remains an important part of the world, and its ancient history still shapes its identity. Through the unification of the small kingdoms, the development of the Silk Road, and the creation of important inventions, China showed its strength and potential. The early rulers of China helped establish a powerful nation that would go on to become one of the most influential countries in the world. After centuries of isolation, China began to face many new challenges from the outside world. In the 19th century, European countries started to explore and trade with China. This time was very important for China because it marked the beginning of its contact with foreign countries. China was no longer a place that kept to itself, but it also faced some problems because of this. One of the first challenges China faced was from Britain. Britain wanted to trade with China, but there was a problem. China only wanted silver in exchange for its valuable goods like tea and silk, but the British wanted to buy more things from China than they were able to sell. Britain's solution to this problem was to trade opium, a drug, to China. Opium was not illegal at first, and many people in China started using it. Soon, opium became a big problem. Many people became addicted to it, and the Chinese government began to see how dangerous the drug was for the people. The government knew that the drug was taking silver out of the country and causing harm to the people. So, in 1839, an official named Lin Zexu was sent to stop the trade. He destroyed large amounts of opium and took action to stop the flow of the drug into the country. However, this action led to more problems. Britain did not agree with China's actions and decided to fight back. In 1839, the First Opium War began. Britain had a powerful army and modern weapons, while China had older weapons. The British easily defeated the Chinese, and as a result, China was forced to sign a treaty called the Treaty of Nanking in 1842. This treaty was very unfair to China. China had to pay a large amount of money and give up the island of Hong Kong to Britain. It also had to open more ports to trade with the British. The war and the treaty were a huge blow to China. For many years, China was forced to allow foreign countries to control certain parts of its land and trade. This period is known as the Century of Humiliation, a time when China was weak and under pressure from foreign powers. The loss of Hong Kong and the unfair treaties made many Chinese people feel ashamed and upset. They realized that they had to change if they wanted to protect their country and their people. Despite these challenges, China started to make some changes. The country began to realize that it needed to modernize. The Qing dynasty, which ruled China at the time, tried to make some reforms to catch up with the rest of the world. However, these reforms were not enough to save the country from further problems. In the early 20th century, China faced even more difficulties. The Qing dynasty was weak, and many people wanted a change in the government. A revolution took place in 1911, and the last emperor of China was forced to step down. China became a republic, but the new government faced many problems. There were wars between different groups, and the country was divided. During this time, two main groups emerged as powerful forces in China. One group was called the Nationalists, and the other was the Communists. The Nationalists had support from businesses and landowners, while the Communists were supported by many poor farmers. Both groups wanted to lead China and make the country stronger, but they disagreed on how to do it. At the same time, another country nearby, Japan, was becoming stronger. Japan wanted to expand its influence in Asia and took advantage of China's weakness. In 1937, Japan invaded China, and a terrible war began. The Nationalists and Communists, who had been fighting each other, decided to stop fighting for a while and join forces to fight against Japan. The war with Japan lasted until 1945, when Japan lost World War II. However, the war between the Nationalists and Communists did not end. After Japan was defeated, the two groups started fighting each other again for control of China. This led to a long civil war, which eventually ended in 1949 with the Communists winning. Mao Zedong, the leader of the Communist Party, declared the creation of the People's Republic of China on October 1, 1949. The Nationalists lost the war and fled to Taiwan, where they set up a government there. But mainland China was now under the control of the Communists. This marked the end of a long period of struggle for China and the beginning of a new chapter in the country's history. Although China had gone through a difficult time with wars and foreign interference, the Communist victory marked a turning point. Under Mao's leadership, China started to rebuild. The country became united once again, and China began to focus on improving itself. Mao's ideas and reforms would shape the future of China, but the challenges China faced were far from over. Through all the wars, foreign invasions, and struggles, China managed to rise again. The path was not easy, and the road to strength was filled with difficult decisions and painful moments. But China's resilience and determination to survive allowed it to overcome these challenges and begin its journey toward becoming a powerful nation once again. After the death of Mao Zedong in 1976, China was at a crossroads. The country was still recovering from the effects of years of war, revolution, and isolation. It was clear that China needed change to move forward. The new leader, Deng Xiaoping, came to power with a vision to transform China into a modern, powerful nation. Deng understood that China could not continue to live in isolation, and he made the decision to open up the country to the outside world. One of the first changes Deng made was to shift China's economic policies. Under Mao, the government had controlled all businesses, and most people worked on farms. However, Deng Xiaoping believed that the country needed to adopt new ideas to grow. He introduced reforms that allowed private businesses to grow. This was a big change from the past, when all businesses were controlled by the government. People could now open their own businesses and make a profit, which gave them a reason to work harder and be more creative. Deng also made changes in agriculture, Before the reforms, China's farmers worked on large collective farms. They had to give most of the crops they grew to the government. Deng allowed farmers to use small pieces of land for themselves. They could keep the extra food they grew and sell it if they wanted. This simple change made a huge difference. Farming became more efficient, and food production increased. As a result, China's economy started to grow. Another important reform was the creation of special economic zones (SEZ). These were areas where foreign companies could set up businesses and pay lower taxes. The SEZ were established in cities near the coast, such as Shenzhen, which was a small fishing village at the time. The SEZ attracted many foreign companies, and they began to bring new technology and investment to China. This was the beginning of China's rapid industrial growth. By the 1980s, China's economy was growing quickly. The country was no longer just an agricultural nation. It was becoming a manufacturing powerhouse. Many foreign companies moved their factories to China because labor was cheap, and the country had many workers. China became the world's factory, producing goods like clothes, electronics, and toys that were sold all over the world. This helped China's economy grow even faster. Along with the growth of China's economy, the country's influence in the world also began to grow. China started to play a bigger role in global trade. In 2001, China became a member of the World Trade Organization (WTO). This allowed China to trade more freely with other countries and attracted even more foreign investment. By joining the WTO, China became more connected to the world's markets, and its economy continued to grow at an amazing rate. As China's economy grew, the country also started to invest in new industries. For example, China became a leader in technology. Companies like Huawei and Alibaba began to rise, and China started to develop its own high-tech products. This was an important step because it showed that China was no longer just copying products from other countries. It was now creating its own innovative products. Another major development was the growth of China's infrastructure. The government invested heavily in building new roads, bridges, and high-speed trains. China now has the longest high-speed rail network in the world, and it is known for its impressive infrastructure. These investments helped China improve its economy and made it easier to connect different parts of the country. China's growth has not come without challenges, however. The country faces problems such as pollution, an aging population, and an income gap between rich and poor. Despite these issues, China has continued to grow and develop. The government has started to focus more on environmental issues and has been investing in clean energy and technology. China is also working to improve the quality of life for its people, and many people are now living better lives than they did in the past. China's success has made it one of the most powerful countries in the world. It is now the second largest economy, after the United States. The country plays a key role in international trade, and it is an important player in global politics. China's rise has changed the balance of power in the world, and it will continue to have a major impact on the future. In conclusion, China's transformation into a global power is a story of great change. From a poor and isolated country, China has become an economic giant. The reforms introduced by Deng Xiaoping set China on the path to success, and today, the country is one of the most important nations in the world. While there are still many challenges ahead, China's growth and achievements over the past few decades show that it has the strength and determination to continue to rise. The story of China's transformation from an ancient civilization to a modern global power is nothing short of remarkable. It began over 4,000 years ago, with small kingdoms fighting for dominance, only to be unified by the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. For centuries, China believed it was the center of the world, isolated and confident in its superiority. However, as the world around it changed, China faced numerous challenges, from the rise of foreign powers like Britain to the struggles of internal revolution. The Opium Wars, the fall of the Qing dynasty, and the rise of Mao Zedong's communist government marked a long period of pain and humiliation. But through all of this, China's ability to adapt and reform eventually allowed it to stand tall once again. Under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, China opened up to the world, embracing economic reforms that shifted it from an agricultural nation to the world's factory. The creation of special economic zones, the opening up of private businesses, and the rapid development of industries like technology helped China grow faster than anyone expected. By joining the World Trade Organization and becoming a leader in global trade, China solidified its place as a powerful force in the world. Despite the challenges, China's ability to bounce back and rise stronger each time offers us valuable lessons. First, it teaches us the importance of adaptability. China did not remain stuck in the past. It learned from the world, made necessary changes, and grew. Just like China had to embrace new ideas, we too must remain open to change in our lives. Whether it's in our careers, relationships, or personal growth, change is inevitable, and adapting to it is crucial. Second, China's story teaches the value of persistence. After so many wars, foreign invasions, and internal struggles, China never gave up on its goal of becoming a strong and independent nation. Even in times of humiliation, the Chinese people did not lose hope. This is a powerful reminder that no matter how difficult life may be, persistence and hope can lead to great success. Lastly, the rise of China shows us the power of unity. When the people of China came together under one leadership, they achieved what seemed impossible. Whether it's a nation or an individual, working together and having a common vision is essential to overcome challenges and reach goals. So, what can we learn from China's journey? We must always be open to learning and adapting, stay persistent in the face of challenges, and seek unity in our efforts. These lessons are not just for countries, but for each of us in our everyday lives. Congratulations to you for improving your English, listening, and understanding by following along with this story. Now, it's your turn to engage with us. Here's a quick question for you. Which of the following is a key lesson from China's rise? A. China remained isolated to protect its culture. B. China adapted to changes and learned from the world. Please comment your answer or B below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to support us as we continue to create more useful content. If you find this content helpful and would like to see more, please consider donating to support our work. The early stages are always difficult, but with your support, we can continue to make quality content to help you improve your English for free. Thank you for listening and supporting.